Alright guys, so I talked to Coco. He said that he wanted me to go over film with you guys. You guys thought it was a good idea, so we're going to go right into it. We're going to talk about Pitt specifically. I brought up actually a film from a tournament with Tox playing, and I want to just kind of break this down for you of how they played, because they honestly they played it perfectly. They worked as a unit, and usually these top players, they don't do this against like the lower teams because they don't want to show like a lot of strategy. But this is actually a pretty cool thing. So ABG is pulling back. Notice what Kev is doing. Kev is lifting up to the tower, and the overshield guy got their green. The green is the anchor of the map. Green is really, really important on holding with their green. Once his shields got down, he actually rotated out. And all that's going to happen on this is that Kevin and Lethal are going to be on bridge and tower, and they're going to be working together. Now, once Lethal dies, you'll see Snakebite fill in that spot to the bridge. Unfortunately, he dies, but he rotated back to fill in that gap. So right here, ultimately what was happening was that they actually had a pretty good setup. They had a guy on tower and a guy on bridge. And then they had a guy on green, and APG actually went cuts. So once he went cuts to flag, he was sitting on the first BR. So once he was on the first BR, he could shoot the guys on the neither. I'll actually show you on my screen. They basically had one guy here, and they were all just spawning neither. They had one guy on the green, one guy that just died on the bridge, and one guy still sitting on tower. Once the bridge died, that's an important part. The green guy actually pushed off of the green and pushed in to fill that spot, leaving APG. APG either had to back off or he had to just trade out and die. Alright, so we'll get back right to the film. So Kev is still on that tower, alright? And they're all spawning core. If you notice, his teammate's going under bridge to get those cutoffs while he's staying on banana. He's not leaving this position to go and look runway. He trusts his teammate and keeps the position on banana. Once this happened right here, alright, APG died. He pushed up way too hard. But right here, they have actual control of, I think it's bridge and sword. And sword is actually a really good like angle too. Alright. So right here, remember green is the anchor. He noticed his teammate died off tower, and then he had a one shot, so he waited and played patient and then backed off to his green. He wanted to do this because he no longer had control, and this is discipline. This is discipline to know not to just like force something and stay and be a hero. So he just backed off, and it made it a lot easier for his team because then he could regroup. So look who's back on their tower. They filled the gap. The first part to getting the setup on Pit Slayer, specifically Slayer only, is to get on their tower. Once you get on the tower, you have bridge or the sword guy. So like if you see right here, Kevin's going right for banana. And then they also have a teammate, I think, on sword. Yeah, they have a teammate on runway. So the runway is waiting down for the OS while they have a guy on banana. Lethal's gonna back off and kind of bait out that he was kind of like weak and switch for the overshield. Once the overshield pushes up to court and lifts up the tower, Lethal will actually back off and go to sword. So now, like under bridge side. So now think about the angles that they're gonna have, and I'll actually show you on my screen too. So they have basically a guy, APG is like right here. He's looking the cuts. He can also look training, he can look plat, and he can look court. Tower guy can just be the nuisance. All he has to do is just stay alive. Not take as much damage, put shots. If they start pushing up, he can shoot on the pit, he can look court, he can look sword, he can really help all his teammates. Him and the banana guy are going to be a huge thing. They actually work together. He can shoot court, he can shoot cuts, plat, and if he needs to drop back and fall back, he can. Come right back to bridge. They're spawning Needler. He can push up a little bit to try and help out. And then the green box guy. Green box can just shoot these guys. If he gets pressured too much, he backs off. Also, he can hit court. He can look plat. He can hit cuts. First BR. Ultimately, there's two separate setups. So once they get full control, the sword guy will actually push down here into pit, to cuts, to flag. Ultimately, you want a guy on green, a guy on first BR right here, a guy on tower, and a guy banana. You're literally controlling the spawns to flip Needler right there to court. And you have cover. This guy on cuts, he's going to be like the cleanup crew. So it's all about, when losing control, it's all about how you can gain it back as a unit. So they're literally playing perfect Halo right here. He's just sitting on the court because he got the callouts. Guy on sword sniping, which is lethal. APG starts pushing up here. This is where they get the real setup. He's going to loop back, be disciplined, and go cuts. And go right to first, so that way the tower guy can help him. They're going to start slaying off that. Right here is pretty important. So this was important right here with the play because the tower guy actually pushed onto plat to force them to spawn courtyard because they knew they had a sniper on sword. So they're going to all actually spawn here on courtyard. He ends up trading on that plat. APG like lives, and then there they all are on court. They're going to be lifting up. All of them just keep spawning there. He starts getting, and this is why it was pretty important too, because they had a sniper on bridge and they had the sniper on sword. So it was pretty much baiting them into getting just destroyed with the snipe. And then they're just chasing for the last kill at this point. But it was like a pretty dominant win, even though it's against not so good kids. This is looking at it at the perfect setup aspect. Now let's look at it from just a regular game that we had played. Let's see. We were actually playing with Coco on this, so like look. I'll go back like a little bit to just show you what was going on. So I got pressured. My teammate pushed through the runway. And then he's gonna push on tower. Me and him are working out, and I'm telling Coco go banana. We're communicating this. The angles that I have here, I'll just put shots. My teammate lifts up tower, and then Coco is right here. At this point, I want to show you what Keto does. Keto's worried. This is like a play. Keto's worried about the guy on our side. At this point, he needs to ignore him. And this is where the discipline comes in. Just call it out and then rotate over either under bridge or to green over. Because we almost have perfect setup. If they come behind us like that, then the tower guy can shoot from bridge, the training guy can shoot, I can turn around. We literally have all angles covered. So, but he luckily gets an individual play. But like, look at the angle that I have right here. I can look deep in the cuts. If they start pushing him, I have the callouts. And then right here is a little bit of a undisciplined from Matt. He didn't really have to force this at this point. Even though he had rockets, just because you have rockets doesn't mean you have to get the kills. And that's where like he dies. Where if he had just stayed on bridge with the rockets, like on the banana side, he would have still gotten the shots. They can't do anything. What's this person going to do if he gets to green? What, just push on his side? Okay. And we still have our setup. They literally can't stop us. We have like different angles looking at them. It's all about being disciplined and knowing what spot and what angles you have to take in order to make sure that you're covering everyone, you're controlling the map. You literally are controlling their side. And then if one of them dies, they get on spawn kills. That's ultimately what you want to do. So this is just a breakdown for Pit for you guys. And yeah.